What's up, football fans? I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the playbook, and don't forget to check out and grab your copy of our two latest book releases, Football: A Love Story and What Did Football Teach Me? Visit our website at footballgameplan.com/books and get your copies today. Huge game in the American this Thursday as Cincinnati travels to Memphis, and these two are eerily similar football teams that boast high-powered offenses with stellar quarterback play in the Bearcats' Gunnar Kill and the Tigers' Paxton Lynch. The question is which defense will step up in this one. The key for the Bearcats is winning on first down defensively. Nose tackle Donald Pennington from Memphis, in my opinion, is the biggest X factor. The goal is to keep Kill confined and apply interior pressure. This will be an entertaining game, and I think Memphis's defense will rise to the occasion and knock off the Bearcats. BYU travels to Ann Arbor to take on Michigan, and this game will be won or lost in the trenches. The biggest questions are, can BYU stop the run, and can they run versus the Wolverines' defense? Michigan does a great job on the inside, not allowing linemen to get to the second level, and they face a tough task against the Cougars' ground game that does a great job in spreading the field to run the football. Running back Adam Hine is a really good player that you want to keep an eye on in this one, and quarterback Jake Ruddock of Michigan will have to be extra careful with the football as the Cougars' defense is very opportunistic. I like BYU in this ball game. Look for the Cougars' secondary and receivers to be the story in this one. I think they will win on the flanks on both sides of the ball. A battle of unbeatens as LSU and Syracuse kick off in the Carrier Dome this weekend, and something's got to give in this ball game as the Tigers come in averaging 338 yards rushing a game, which is 5th in the nation, and Syracuse only gives up 46.7 yards a game, which is 3rd in the nation. The one thing the Orange does well is play with good offensive balance. Freshman quarterback Eric Dungy will face his toughest test of yet as LSU's defense, led by linebacker Kendall Beckwith, can apply pressure on both ends. It'll be interesting to see how or if Les Miles opens up the playbook more for quarterback Brandon Harris, and it's not like LSU doesn't have excellent weapons on the flanks to get the job done. Best believe Syracuse's linebackers Zaire Franklin and Marquez Hodge are chomping at the bits, ready to compete versus sophomore sensation tailback Leonard Fournette. In a surprising twist, look for Syracuse to slow down Fournette, but Brandon Harris to have a breakout performance. I like LSU. Navy travels to UConn, and you can't say enough great things about the midshipman quarterback Keenan Reynolds. The senior signal caller is on pace to break Monty Ball's all-time NCAA touchdown rushing record. In this game, it'll be vital for the Mids' passing game to get going. That's where UConn comes into play. The Huskies have played stellar defensive football at this juncture of the season, and they've had the luxury of facing an option team already this season in Army, so they know what to expect when Navy shows up on their doorstep. As always, versus an option team, the focus will be on the play of the linebackers. Junior Joseph, Graham Stewart, and Marquise Van must stay assignment sound and disciplined in their assignments. It'll be a close game, but I think UConn's offense will find it hard to have success versus Navy's defense. I like the midshipmen. Intriguing matchup in Waco as Rice visits Baylor, and for Rice in this ball game, it's about how good of a start they can have defensively, because that's been an issue in the early part of the season. We know their offense with quarterback Dreyfus Jackson will be fine, and they can put up points, but can they match up on the perimeter defensively? Now, Baylor comes into this game undefeated, and where they win games, in my opinion, is on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Left tackle Spencer Drango and defensive linemen Sean Oakman and Andrew Billings are premier talents. And I think this game will be a high-scoring one, and I like Baylor to win it. I think Rice will have problems stopping Shock Linwood in that Bears ground game. A really good matchup and an underrated one here between Maryland and West Virginia, and I came away highly impressed with the Terrapins' front seven on the defensive side of the ball last week versus South Florida. Junior defensive end Yannick Ngakoue is a terror coming off the edge, and they also get really good play from their secondary, led by cornerback Sean Davis. The biggest battle that West Virginia has to win is obviously up front. The Mountaineers have more than enough talent in the backfield to get the job done, led by running back Russell Shell, and I do think West Virginia will win this game. As impressive as quarterback Caleb Rowe was last week versus USF, he did toss 3 interceptions, so look for Carl Joseph and that Mountaineers secondary to take full advantage of Rowe's streakiness. This has the potential to be a really entertaining game between Tennessee and Florida, because both teams excel in areas where the others have issues. For the Vols, it's the passing game. They have to like their chances versus this Gators secondary, even with the superstar back there in cornerback Vernon Hargraves III. And for the Gators, running back Kelvin Taylor and company has to be extra giddy facing a tender Vols run defense. Now, with all that said, this game will come down to both defenses and quarterback play. Tennessee's goal is to make Florida one-dimensional, and that starts by winning on first down defensively. And for the Gators, how well can they play the intermediate game versus the pass could be the deciding factor in this game. The Vols haven't beaten Florida in 10 years. Make that 11. I think Florida's play in the trenches will prove to be too much for Tennessee. Great Pac-12 battle between UCLA and Arizona, and both teams have played solid football on both sides of the ball this year. The Bruins are winning with a true freshman quarterback in Josh Rosen, while sophomore quarterback Anu Solomon has 10 touchdowns and 0 interceptions on the season. This will be a great chess match between the spread attack of Arizona and the discipline of the Bruins front seven on the defensive side, led by linebacker Miles Jack. Now, offensively for UCLA, especially to avoid another Rosen performance from last week against BYU, they have to get running back Paul Perkins rolling early and often in this matchup. And I think for the Wildcats, it'll be their ability to sustain drives offensively. UCLA will be weakened in the secondary, and I think that will end up biting them in the rear. I like Arizona. Keep an eye on this Wildcats defense. While it may not be Desert Swarm, it's still pretty darn good. And finally, Arizona State plays host to USC, and the Trojans are coming off a tough loss to Stanford, where a lot has been made about the play of their offensive line. I think personally they'll be fine up front. Matchups matter, and Stanford honestly was a bad one for the Trojans up front. I think this game could resemble an old school Big Ten matchup, as both defenses have the ability to match up on the outside. So this game will have to be played in the box, where honestly both teams are stingy as well defensively. In order for Arizona State to win, the Sun Devils have to maximize their red zone opportunities, and this is where I believe running back Demario Richard comes into play. He's a very good runner and will be counted on heavily in this matchup. Ultimately, it'll come down to who can make consistent plays in the passing game, and I like Cody Kessler and that Trojans vertical passing attack to edge Arizona State in a close one in this matchup.